Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Guapish, Rule 34. As always, I'm being joined by today's special guest, Tanner. And we've also got Jackson here.
Guys, I've finally given up. I am just becoming a cat.
It's about time. And we've also got Dylan.
Oh my god, look at him.
Oh my god, Dylan, my jaw just literally fucking dropped. You can't say shit like that, dude. I have to fucking cut that shit out of here, man. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Man.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, he's technically allowed to use that word.
Getting on to today's topic at hand. Boys,
Yes.
I feel like we've been putting in a little too much effort recently, you know? Like,
Oh yeah.
with all these cool episodes we've been doing, with us recently blowing up, with Tanner's like big special quiz he did, he put all that work into the PowerPoint. I figured, guys, maybe we should just rein it back a little bit, just kind of do what all the big YouTubers do when they finally run out of topics, which is go to Reddit. That's right, guys. I have a few fun little Reddit posts here for us to be checking out that have to do with, like, relationships and such. And we are going to be dishing out what we believe these fine folks should be doing, what these fucking degenerates of Reddit should be doing in these situations.
I can't wait to be irrationally mad at internet strangers.
Me too, man. Shout out to the will of the council for dredging through Reddit's depths so that I could easily curate all of these things. So, kicking us off, boys. Dylan.
Yes.
I'm going to be sending you this fun little post here. Just go ahead and be the one to read it out here for us. How about ya?
This is gonna have the N-word in it, I know it.
Hey guys, this is Tanner. I just wanted to interrupt this episode to let you know that the following Reddit post that is about to be read out sounds really stupid, and that is not Dylan's fault. It's because Redditors are fucking retarded. So, if you're down in the comments trying to blame Dylan for not knowing how to read, you should instead blame Redditors for not knowing how to write. Anyway, you kooky cats have a great time with the rest of this episode.
Fiance F23 wants to call off wedding because I, 26, would save my 3-year-old niece before her dogs in a hypothetical fire. How can I explain to her my reasoning? I recently got engaged to my fiance about 2 months ago. Everything was fine until 2 days ago. She has 2 dogs and a cat. She loves them and essentially sees them as her fur babies. I like pets in general, but not to the extent of calling them my kids or anything like that. I personally find it ridiculous, but it's harmless, so whatever. My sister has a 3-year-old daughter who literally adores me. My sister and her husband were going to an event, and they left her with me and my fiance for the few hours. She, by the way, this is not me misreading, this is how it's typed.
Yeah, I figured.
I and my fiance were watching a movie, and the subject of fire rescue came up. For some awkward reason, she asked me...
The subject of fire rescue.
As it does, you know.
She asked me if there was a fire, who I would save first. God, this grammar's awful. Where am I? Her, my niece, or her dogs? What a questionable scenario. I told her I'd do my best to save the 2 of them. Her and my niece. I would put my own life at risk to save them. She said, what about the dogs? I told her I would try to save them, but her and my niece come first, and it's not even close. She got mad and started saying I am putting my niece above my own family. I told her I do not know what her logic is, but there's no way I would put the dogs, as much as I like them, above my niece, a little human being with whom I share 25% of my DNA. She then started saying that I know how much her dogs mean to her, and if I loved her, I would value them as much as I value her. Crazy statement. I told her I would value her a lot more than she can imagine, but when it comes to saving my niece or the dogs, there's no ambiguity. She even mentioned how I should save the dogs before her. I told her the only other being I would put before her is our child, when we have one. Otherwise, I would always save her before her pets. Since then, she has been giving me a hard time. She has also been acting different with the dogs. Oh shit. I used to feed
She's fucking the dogs
every morning. Now she rushes to do it, so I don't do it. She takes them on walk by herself without telling me, and is essentially trying to take me out of the equation when it comes to the dogs. I talked to her about it yesterday, and she said she is not sure she wants to marry me anymore because I don't value her fur babies.
Dude is dodging an insane bullet. What the fuck is wrong with this woman?
Break it off, dude. Get out.
What the fuck?
Christ.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a little rough, no pun intended.
Okay, so like, this is a normal sort of woman question that she would pose to you. They like to do these little tests every now and then, They like to poke and prod at your inner machinations to try and figure out what exactly you do in these horrific situations. Like, what if she was a lamp? Would you still love her? Would you try and remarry or something? Tanner, would you try and remarry if your wife turned into a lamp?
I mean, what are the, do I see like a fucking genie or some shit turn her into a lamp?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my ability to solve that is fairly limited. I'll give it the good old college try and, wait a couple of years to see if she turns back or, the government figures out how to fix her, but I'd probably move on eventually.
Tanner, you should be answering this like your girlfriend's the one asking you to. You fumbled. You threw.
You're right, I did fumble.
You saying you didn't keep her on your nightstand for the rest of your life and you always talk to her, you give her bedtime stories or something, and see her on your lunch breaks and stuff, immediately fumbled the question.
Dude, listen, my girlfriend is like a fairly logical lass. I don't know if she would be getting old bent out of shape out of these stupid women questions. She did answer the bear question wrong, though.
Which is already a very unsettling sign, my man.
Yeah. Genuinely, I mean, granted, I don't have the closest relationship with my cat, but if a building is on fire and it's even a random toddler that I don't know, or my cat, I'm gonna save the random kid, because I'm not a fucking evil person,
Pets have survival instincts, come on, it's easy.
True.
Dude, you don't understand, these are her fur babies though, man.
Listen, dude, they have survival instincts, and they, if anything, even if they're younger, they have better survival instincts than a toddler, so it's kind of easy.
What do you think are better at surviving house fires, cats or dogs?
Probably
my assumption
cats,
is cats.
because they can
I
climb.
assume cats, too.
Because
They're
dogs
a bit lower to the ground and a bit more nimble.
Yeah, because dogs are more afraid of things than cats, I would imagine. So,
You're right. Some cats would run into the fire.
I mean, they wouldn't run into the fire. They would do pretty much anything to get out of said fire. Whereas dogs are kind of just fucked. So
yeah,
it definitely is a tough one. As for the question at hand here, though, do you guys really think he's just fucking break it off with her, though?
I think her acting so distraught about this is very strange to me. I mean, she's the one that sounds like she wants to fucking break it off, and her being so upset and wanting to cancel a marriage over this is very weird.
It definitely doesn't bode well. If it was just, she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would do it, and then they, moved on, then whatever, but, how long did it say it's been that she's been, fucking on his ass about this?
let's see.
I don't think it mentions how long exactly it's been.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's been, I'd say, longer than a week, and this is still, an issue with her that she is going to continually bring up, yeah, you're probably better off finding someone else.
I would say so.
Yeah, I feel like she's the type of person that would just make your life very difficult later on if she's just going to shut down like this and completely avoid you. It's just a big red flag. It's a pretty massive one.
Truly unhinged
personally.
behavior.
I would definitely honestly try to work through it, given you're attempting to marry this woman. Clearly you have some sort of connection. But if she's not really going to work with you on it, then what can you really do?
Right.
I mean, she's 23, man. They're still young, it's sounding like, so...
This could be a learning experience for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Or him.
Yeah, more than likely him, though.
Is fur babies, period, a red flag?
Yes.
I don't know, because I unfortunately use that phrase, so I can't dictate. Listen, dude,
Is it
I
a
love
red flag in men, though?
Yes.
I don't know if women would see it as a red flag.
I don't know.
I think women seeing somebody and not have a dog is a red flag.
I mainly say it as a prodding joke. People are like, oh, do you have any kids? I'm like, oh yeah, I got some kids, and then I show them pictures of they're my fur babies, and then they kind of laugh. They're like, those aren't kids. I'm like, close enough.
That is incredibly zesty, as the kids say.
Good, I guess.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with that information. I don't know if you're just being ironic or you're genuinely mentally unill.
Yeah, unill.
I might be a little bit. You never know.
He tried going for mentally ill and mentally unhinged.
Unwell is what I was thinking.
Oh, okay,
there.
gotcha.
Alrighty, boys. Well, are we ready to pass judgment upon these people here?
Have we not already?
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like we already have.
This feels pretty cut and dry.
Fair enough, dude. Alright, well, we've spoken on that one. You heard it, boys. Fucking dump her, go to the gym, start working out, get an STD test maybe, get into therapy.
STD test.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely go to therapy after that. Oh my god.
If she turns up pregnant, make sure it has a normal sense of smell.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and with that, we've got our next one coming up here. Tanner, would you be so kind as to read this fun little post from Am I the Asshole?
Not a problem. I love Am I the Asshole? The answer is almost always yes. Hold on, I'm gonna burp real quick. Holy shit. Okay. Should I do it in the Redditor voice?
Yeah, go for it, dude. Why not?
Am I the asshole for refusing to donate my kidney to my dying sister because she got with my high school bully? This is fake already, but throwaway because this has a lot more personal information than I want on my main. All names are fake though. Also, fuck mobile formatting. I'm a 35-year-old gay man.
Now you know I had you read it. Happy Pride Month, by the way, guys.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in high school, I was bullied severely by Darren. I won't go into the details, but it was really bad. Past the point of typical high school douchebaggery. He misspelled douchebaggery. In my sophomore year, I made the mistake of coming out to one of my friends, who promptly spread this information around the school. Before this, Darren had targeted me for being unathletic and wearing glasses, and had done this to a couple other kids as well. But after I was outed, it was only me, and only because of my sexuality. After high school, I moved away for college. I made friends, even got a boyfriend, and pretty much forgot about Darren. Until one Thanksgiving, my sister, Ellie, brought home her boyfriend, Darren. No joke. The first thing he said when he saw me was, "Damn, Ellie, you didn't tell me your brother's a fag."
Oh, shit.
Ellie fucking laughed, as did my dad. I was kinda stunned, but I didn't yell or start a fight. I just got up and walked out. After the fact, my family tried to play it off as Darren was joking because he was nervous meeting the family, and they told me that he and Ellie were serious, so I had to get over it. I just told them all that I wouldn't be attending any event where Darren was. In private, I told Ellie that I felt hurt that she'd date Darren, knowing what he did to me. She basically called me too sensitive and told me she has the right to date who she likes, which, yeah, she does. Since then, I've been putting distance between myself and my family, who seem to have readily accepted Darren into the fold. Recently, my mom reached out to tell me that Ellie was in the hospital and needed a kidney transplant. The rest of the family had been tested and none could donate, and my mom wanted me to get tested because I'm her full brother with a high likelihood of a match. The thing is, after all these years, Ellie is basically a stranger to me. If I were to do this, I'd have to drive 3 states back to my hometown, miss who knows how much work, and give up a piece of my flesh. All for the woman who dated and eventually married the guy who made my high school days a living hell. I told my mom that I wouldn't be getting tested, and she freaked out at me over the phone. I quickly hung up on her, but before I did, I heard her call me vindictive and a monster for refusing to save my sister's life. I admit I feel guilty about it. Lot of layers to this one. Lot of layers.
This is definitely a step above. Should I fucking break things off with my fiance because she doesn't like how I wouldn't save her fur babies,
I've got 3 or 4 thoughts that immediately come to mind. One, he leaves just enough information in here that you can tell he is absolutely insufferable and deserved a large amount of the bullying he got.
What do you mean by that, dude?
Shit like, Darren had targeted me for being unathletic and wearing glasses. You can, wearing that's just a tip-off to me that, no, you were probably just, annoying. 2, man, I don't know. See, I feel like most people's gut reaction is no, you have to save your sister, but, I think giving up organs is a pretty big deal.
That's honestly very shocking to me. I 100% thought you'd be on the side of, well, they're family. Blood is thicker than water, you gotta save her, man.
Yeah, I would say the other thing is that when he is like, if I were to do this, I'd have to drive 3 states to my hometown, miss who knows how much work. This kind of like complaining about these really menial aspects of this larger thing is
yeah, like take
suspicious.
A fucking flight, guy. Like, why do you think you have to drive? Take the cheaper option.
My thing is just like complaining about that at all is fucking weird. Like making that part of your argument should just be like, I'm not really comfortable giving up an organ. Like, that's all you have to say. Going into it and being like, dude, I'd have to fucking miss work. It's like, are you a fucking sociopath? What are you talking about?
Some people get
I
really
mean, to be fair, dude, like, the guy probably has, like, such a limited amount of, like, days off, you know? Does he really want to fucking use it for this person who decided to get with his fucking, like, high school bully and then just, like, never reach out to him again, it sounds like?
It sounds more like he cut off contact with her.
I mean, it's not like they reached back out, it sounds like.
Well, we only have his word.
That's also true.
Right? So, like...
You can't make a full judgment based off of half a story, unfortunately.
I think...
Was the sister aware of this guy being his bully, too?
Yes.
Because I don't think you can really pin this on her for just dating somebody.
That was included in the story.
Potentially not knowing anything about their past. Right? Like, not like even really would be that big of a deal anyways. People change.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this guy maybe didn't change given his immediate comment when he saw the brother. But, you know.
Yeah, well, on top of that, if that's the first thing he says when he walks into the house after being out of high school for X amount of years, and both the sister and the dad laugh at that, even though that's not really something you joke about, and then they just shock...
That's totally something you joke about.
If you know your son's gay, that's not something you laugh about, Tanner.
It absolutely is. But, yeah, I do think, like, the timeline would be useful, because... Yeah, I'm wondering about the timeline, because he's 35 now, so it's been, like, you know, almost 20 years since the bullying was really active. Yeah. And he only says the Thanksgiving happened after college? Moved away for college, blah, 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 until one Thanksgiving. So we have no... and then now they're married, so we have no idea how long it has been between her being sick and then him having that one negative interaction with the boyfriend at Thanksgiving. For all we know, he has been cutting off his family for 15 fucking years and just fucking stewing in the fact that his high school bully, is fucking his sister.
Which, you know, I feel is all the more reason that he shouldn't go through with any of this.
This depends on your level of pettiness, unfortunately, as well. Because, like, one thing I'm also thinking about here is in what some people would call one of his most vulnerable periods of his life, his family was not there to support him or whatever you want to say. So,
what do you mean?
Well, for example, when they laughed at the joke and then just thought they chalked it up to...
Well, that was after college. This wasn't, like, his most vulnerable time of his life.
But, like, also, they just chalked it up to Darren or whatever being, like, nervous about being around the family. And then, you know, because, like, it's always a two-way street kind of thing. Like, sure, he could have reached out to his family, but his family also could have been reaching out to him.
Well, for all we know, they had been.
Yeah. You know, it's like you said, though, we only have one side of the story, so it's really hard to come to a decisive conclusion here.
The other big thing to highlight here, in my opinion, is he ends it with, I admit I feel guilty about it, which I think kind of tips his hand towards him being the more unreasonable one here. It's tough. Really, your two options are, because the thing is, he hasn't even been tested, so, like, by not getting tested at all, you look like a freak. If you get tested, it turns out it's positive, and then you still say no, you're never going to interact with your family again.
Well, it sounds like he doesn't particularly want to be interacting with them anyway.
Right.
Why not? I mean, again, we only have his word to go off of. They laughed at someone calling him a fag.
To be
You're
fair,
35, fucking get over it.
My usual go-to, like, end-all decision maker is I come to, like, the scale at the end, I guess you want to call it. So basically it's, am I going to not donate a kidney because my family was not there to support me when I was younger? And then, or, like, if you want to put it further, am I going to let my sister die from, like, kidney cancer or whatever because my family was not supportive of me or whatever. And then you weigh it that way, and then it's like, I guess in this scenario, he would be the asshole. Like, all of the
Ultimately, I need more information about the medical side of it, I think. I need to know what are the odds he is positive, what are the, how likely is it that they could find someone else who could donate a kidney, and how long would she even live if she did get this transplant?
Assuming, well, considering it's the kidney, I would imagine they could get all of it out, and then she'd probably be fine. So, but I also agree with your previous statement where he would definitely be the asshole if he got tested, was found to be a match, and then just decided not to give her any part of his kidney. Then that for sure would peg him as the asshole, but like at this point it kind of...
Yeah, that's a fair point, Dylan. If we're sticking strictly to the rules of this subreddit, I think you're not an asshole. No matter what, people might see you as a sociopath to be avoided if you don't do this, though. I think being a sociopath and an asshole are two different things, though.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, they're making it sound like they can't find another kidney donor. They're just trying to find what's more convenient, so they don't have to wait, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. I think, Reddit tends to have, like, this big grandstand idea of, like, you don't owe anybody anything, okay? Like, fuck all these other people. You just do you, guy. You live your LGBTQ plus lifestyle that you dreamed of. But also, like, she is family. Like, you guys cut contact with each other at this point, but he does say, like, it's been years. She's basically a stranger to him at this point. It's like, would you give a kidney to help a stranger? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, this is me personally, but, like, and I haven't had this necessarily, but I feel like certain people have different levels of fuck up for you to not do anything to interact with them ever again. I feel like with family, you have to fuck up pretty bad for you to just and not necessarily let your family die, but anything to that extent, like anything in that range, like to cut off contact or whatever. And I don't think they've done that yet, so.
Yeah, I think it's valid for him to not help out, personally. I definitely am kind of with you guys. It is a little, definitely could be a little weird seeming if he didn't, but also I'm not gonna fucking knock him for it, given his sister is, dating somebody that is just, like, objectively a fucking asshole to him, kind of has been for a while. They haven't fucking spoken in a long ass time. He doesn't really have much association with them anymore. If he's fine losing contact with his whole family, basically, then yeah, who cares? I don't think I'm going to attack him as being an asshole for it. I think it's kind of understandable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. As long as he's willing to accept, like, what the obvious consequences of not doing this will be, sure, go for it.
I feel like his family should have taken the moving 3 states away as a sign that he did not want to be associated with them.
Well, there we go, boys. Is it a unanimous not the asshole from us?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're on Reddit's side on this one.
There we go, pal. Happy Pride. Hope you enjoy the kidney. Alright, and with that, we have one final one to be discussing here, boys. One more. This one is quite a bit shorter than the others, but, like, there's definitely a good bit of meat on this one as well for you guys to enjoy. So, Jackson, would you be so kind as to go ahead and read this out for me?
My 33 male wife, 34 female, thinks my orgasms are gross. How do I handle this? My wife and I have been married my wife and I have been married only 2 months. We dated 2 years and got married this year. We don't have any children and would like to have children one day. But my wife has suddenly and unexpectedly told me that she thinks when I orgasm, I shouldn't do it around her. She said specifically she thinks semen is gross and that it's not important that I have an orgasm during sex. We had sex once or twice a month leading up to getting married. I'd have liked more, but I understand life gets in the way. She would never want me to ejaculate. She would have her orgasm and usually say I can go finish myself in the bathroom or something. I've asked her to help me and she told me it's not her responsibility for me to get to orgasm, that she thinks semen is gross and unimportant. When she mentions the semen point, I asked her how she thought we'd have kids and how she'd get pregnant if I didn't have sex the normal way. She told me that it was rude to call it not normal and made her feel inadequate. But the part that shocked me was that she said she'd prefer to go IVF and she'd like to choose a donor based on certain features she'd like her kid to have. Her kid, in quotes. She kept saying her kid, not ours, even acknowledged I'm part of this. She said that while she loves me, she wants the best for her kid and wants the best donor she can find. This is a complete 180 from what we discussed before we getting married. She said I'm selfish for wanting my DNA for our kid. I'm honestly completely confused. She has never talked this way before we got married and never mentioned it. I'm totally lost here. How do I explain that she changed almost overnight and she's being unrealistic? I'm afraid she's leading us down the route of a sexless marriage, but then I feel so guilty for thinking she owes me something.
Well,
And
You know what this sounds like to me?
Yeah, what's that, dude?
This kind of, to me, sounds like one of those stories that we'll hear from people in relationships where it's like, oh, my wife or girlfriend was on birth control for a long time, and once she came off it, like, her level of attractiveness to me completely changed. And I'm wondering if that's what's going on here.
I mean, but it doesn't sound like she was on anything. It sounds like they just got married and then...
Well, he didn't say anything about that, so you can't say either way. I'm just saying, to me, like, he's saying it's a 180. They just recently got married and they're planning on having children. So I think it kind of makes sense if while they were dating for those 2 years, she was on birth control and then she just recently came off, and the hormone change is, like, impacting how she kind of feels about having children with him specifically. But that's, like, completely me spitballing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's valid, but to say that you don't want... Like, you want somebody else's kid and to not... It's just so out in left field. Is it... Nico, is this another one of those Am I the Asshole ones? Is that...
No, it's just relationship advice.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like... I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, Tanner, but to say that... Because this is... I won't say this is two different arguments, because it's technically not, but the thinking the orgasming and semen is, like, gross, and then switching to... I want to choose a donor for my kid. I think those are two completely separate issues, to be completely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, they totally are. I mean, like, one of them is she doesn't like to have sex, or she doesn't like him to orgasm. The other one is I don't want your fucking kids, which is the bigger issue here, especially because they got married. When you get married to somebody, you're kind of going under the assumption you're going to have kids with them. She's going out of her way to say she doesn't want his kids, and then she wants to pick kids of her own. Also, I think the distinction of him constantly saying that she was saying her kid is very suspect to me. I don't know if it's maybe, you know, digging too deep into that, but yeah, no, it definitely is very strange that she was saying her kid specifically and not our kid, given they're fucking married.
Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out if this is really the ultimate question for me. Is this recoverable? Because
that's the big tough part. But like, even like the fucking just like, you know, the change in how she wants, like, you know, go about having kids, like that's like a newer thing. But like the fact that he married her, considering that she does not want him to come while they're having sex, is a pretty massive red flag for me already. Like, that shit we haven't really touched on whatsoever, but that's fucking wild.
I mean,
he gets her to come, and then she's like, all right, toots, here's a pack of cigars and some fucking change for the bus. I'll see you later. Finish yourself off in the bathroom. Like, that shit's fucking wild.
Yes, but my assumption was that during the dating phase when they were having sex, that wasn't the case, is what it sounded like to me.
I would think
like,
so.
to me, it sounded like this whole aversion to semen thing is like within like the last 2 months since they got married.
It says that we had sex once or twice a month leading up to getting married, but she would never want me to ejaculate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that part has always been around.
Now I'm just kind of like, well, now you're just kind of an idiot for marrying her and thinking this behavior would change.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, live with your fucking mistake.
Maybe he was like, well, we have to have kids someday. Eventually she'll want me to come in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's probably exactly what he was thinking, too.
He should ask her, how is she gonna pay for IVF?
Yeah, because that shit is not fucking cheap at all.
No, not even close, dude. Like, that's wild behavior. Because it's just like, there's like some kind of, and I might be wrong in saying it this way, that's some kind of like ego trip behavior in my mind. Like, she wants what's best for her, and she wants the best possible kid, and it's like at least take it a step, like, I don't know if it's up or down, but you'll see what I mean. Like, at least adopt a kid. Like, at that point, that makes more sense. Like, if it's not gonna be either of your kids, at least make it an adopted kid. If you're just gonna find a random person and you're married to somebody so you can have your own kid, that makes less sense than adopting a kid.
Yeah, it's also like weirdly like eugenics designer baby like mindset. And she's fucking 33, right?
Yeah, something like that.
She's 34.
30. So like in one more year she will be having geriatric pregnancies.
Huh.
I'm gonna be honest. If having children is important to this dude, I think she has severely misled you. You are kind of an idiot, but clearly she is not interested in having children with you. So if that is a priority of yours, you might have to call it here. Although I think you probably deserve to lose half your stuff for being stupid.
Yeah.
I will say, there's a lot of unchecked boxes that people refuse to get to, which really just ends up putting them in a not really great scenario later on, and this guy is experiencing that very early on. So...
I feel like we're missing some context of the rest of their relationship, too, because, why did this girl get with him in the first place? Like, I don't know. From my perspective, if you are, really in love with somebody enough to want to marry them, you wouldn't be adverse, or at least this blatantly adverse, to having a fucking child with them. So, why did she marry him? What is her side of the story with all of this?
Because
is she just, uber fucking rich or something? And she's just doing this for the money, and that's why she has no interest in him at all? Is he, really fucking ugly or something?
If he was super rich, he probably wouldn't be marrying a 34-year-old, right?
I mean, you
if
could be
he
super
wants
rich
to
and
have
also,
kids.
want love.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I feel like that could have been a really simple question to ask. Be like, hey, so is there, a reason you, never let me finish when we're having sex? Is there, is that gonna change? Can we talk about that? I
She
feel
said
like that's
gross, dude.
Yeah, but regardless of how you phrase it or whatever, it's still, something that could have been brought up, and it's just, one of those subjects that people feel like it's too awkward to bring up, so they don't. And then it just turns into this kind of stuff where you're sitting here not sure what to do. So...
Maybe he needs to, do some exposure therapy, and trick her into going... I was gonna say trick her into going to a bukkake or something.
Oh, God. Take her to an orgy or something.
I don't remember what kind of, the psychological term for this is. Do something worse, take a shit on her, and then be like, see, semen isn't that gross. We could be doing this.
Oh, man.
Then plant a fucking Cleveland steamer on her chest.
Jesus Christ, that's awful.
Yeah, I think that whatever, weird mental change has gone on with her, I don't believe that either of those would really help her out too much.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with Jackson, and to the point of, it just sounds like this lady shouldn't have gotten married at all if she was just gonna find a random donor.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like she's trying to girl boss, but also be married.
Yeah, which, that's not, this is just wild and stupid. I don't get it.
So, guys, what do we think he should do here?
Go to therapy, take them both to therapy.
Yeah, sure. Try that first.
And then,
he definitely needs to press her more specifically about to why she doesn't want to have a child with him out, because I don't think she's being honest with it just being an issue of not liking the cum in her, because he could at the very least just fucking spunk in a cup or something and pour that bitch into her or some shit. I don't know. There's less gruesome ways of doing it. She can close her eyes. It's very easy. That's a very low effort way. It sounds like she doesn't want to have kids with him specifically, and I think that's the bigger root issue that he needs to discover. That's the big thing.
Yeah. I think this all roots down to, if you're gonna marry somebody, if one of you wants kids and the other doesn't, I think that's a red flag you guys need to work out, because you can't get married with one of you wanting kids and the other not, so...
Well, in this case, it's that she doesn't want kids with him.
I know, but it's basically, essentially it's the same thing, though, because he's not having kids, she is.
Right,
so, it's not exactly one-to-one like my example, but regardless.
So, obviously, try working it out, try couples therapy or whatever. Otherwise, I guess you're gonna have to cut your losses and also kind of take the L on this one for
pretty much.
Being stupid, frankly.
Because at some point it just turns into mental and emotional trauma, and you don't want that.
Well, boys, what if I told you that we actually have an update for this post?
Oh, God.
That delves into things a little deeper.
Let's hear it, dude. I want to know.
She can't get pregnant because she's trans.
That would be... Oh, no, I thought you were just going to say she can't get pregnant. That would be hilarious. That would be Karma's ultimate revenge.
I am a gay man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you guys thought I was... Of course we have to do IVF. Are you fucking retarded?
Anyways, let me read out this update. I do have an update. I took most of the good advice and tried to talk to my wife last night. It didn't go well. When I asked why she thought it was okay to have a baby with a donor sperm and not me, she said again because it's her choice and that she wants only the best genes for her kids. When I asked why she changed her tune from when we talked about it a year ago, she denied it. I even showed her screenshots from once we texted, and she claimed that wasn't her and it was someone else. When I asked who, she couldn't answer, but alluded to her phone being hacked. When I asked if it's still hacked, or when she texted she loved me, was that a hacker or her? She said her, but that the hackers can charge or change messages and make people look different. When I brought up how disrespectful that is, she questioned why it was so important to me to have a kid. When I explained that IVF can cost from $25K to $100,000, she flipped out and said she won't go to a clinic that is run by deep state doctors, that she has a list of doctors that don't murder babies. I asked what list, and she refused to show me. When I tried to bring up sex, she shut me down by saying I'm a disgusting pig who only thinks about sex and spreading my dirty genes. She said she wants to make sure her kid has blonde hair and is white. I guess me being white doesn't matter. She's never expressed these ridiculous and frankly racist views before. I did know she's been spending hours on Facebook and some other website, usually after I go to bed. Unfortunately, I think she's losing grip with reality and falling into some bizarre conspiracy theories. I asked her to see a counselor with me because I am concerned about us and her. She said that doctors will just want to load her up with medication that make her a zombie, and that it's a way for them to control people, and that she had to stop taking it last year because it was hurting her soul. Okay, so she's fucking insane?
Yeah, she's a schizophrenic.
What the yeah, she's got off on like some QAnon shit or something.
Oh no! Yeah,
I was right about that eugenics stuff.
Yeah, no, it's definitely sounding like he's definitely gonna have to cut his losses here. And
yeah, she's trying to get a kid in the Hitler Youth or something. What started this?
Or hang on a second, get her number so Tanner can hit her up.
No, or you need to come up with conspiracy theories to convince her of that drive her in the direction you want her to go. Convince her that IVF facilities and sperm banks are tainted by black people semen, and so she can't trust them. That might lead to her just cheating on you with an ideal specimen, but it might work, you know?
Well, based on her prior mental, limiters, I don't think that's the problem here, Tanner. I don't think she's gonna go that far.
I don't know, I really enjoyed Tanner's idea of the Guapish special here that Jackson had founded, which is just, fucking gaslight your partner and fucking start some psychological warfare with them.
Right. It's not psychological warfare if they're already crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
only
more
improve
crazy.
Things.
Yeah. What a crazy turn of events. I truly feel sorry for this guy.
Yeah.
And she wasn't... Yeah, this just feels like she has become a different person and you're not really married to her in a meaningful sense. So, I maybe don't even need you to lose half your stuff anymore. You might be able to get out of this one scot-free, in my book, my guy.
Yeah. God, how terrible.
Well, boys, what do we think you should do then? Stick with her, maybe try the therapy?
Yeah, she kind of refused the therapy, so, at that point, you can't help somebody who doesn't want help.
Yeah.
Without knowing how close and, wholesome the non-sexual aspects of their relationship are, I can't say for sure. If he genuinely loves this woman, then, maybe give it a couple more shots, get her some help. It seems pretty bleak based on the information we have, so
I don't know.
Maybe get prepare to lawyer up.
Yeah, it sounds like this is kind of spreading into other aspects of their life, so you might be able to contain it into that one section for now, but eventually it just turns into fighting almost all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, there we have it. We have spoken once more. Fucking dump that bitch, dude. Start going to the gym. Yeah, get some therapy for yourself, Really self-improve, bro.
Yeah, you do you, boo.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and there we have it. That was our little excursion over to Reddit in the bag, boys.
Wasn't as horrible as I thought it'd be.
There we go. Very happy to hear it.
There we go.
As for other news, though, Tanner.
Yeah.
What's this, weird gaming shit that you've been seeing all over Twitter recently?
Oh, boy, I'm trying to remember what this was. What was this about? I can't remember what the specific event that put into place is, but I just wound up on Twitter under some gaming, related post. And I was shocked to discover that, like, the console wars are still, like, very much a real thing.
Yeah.
What? They are?
Yes.
Yeah, there's, like, and it's still, like, hardcore and stuff. It's like people, fucking yelling and screaming at each other about, whether Xbox or PlayStation is better, and they're, like, hardcore dick riders for these corporations. I just found it incredibly strange.
Yeah, it's
like,
super odd.
I thought it died when, like, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, like, the first renditions of them got released, because I never heard anything about console wars ever again.
Nah, this stuff is still very much a thing, apparently. Like, they got their cute little nicknames and stuff, like they call them Sony Ponies
Oh,
and
of course.
X-Bots, because they're NPCs, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm assuming...
Granted, I grew up mostly playing Nintendo, but I was never like a, man, fuck the other, ones. I was like, man, I wish I also had those ones.
Yeah.
Like, I just do not get that mindset where you're fucking like, this is the only video game manufacturer company that I'm gonna play, and fuck the other ones. I'm so mad at them.
Yeah, it honestly doesn't make any sense. That's why... I think in high school I participated in it, but that's just because, teenage angst, and, you wanted to have superiority because you probably didn't have it in many other areas back then.
And, like, you only had so much money back then, so you want to really, like, laud up the idea that the console that you got is the best one.
Primarily, I think just because people have limited resources, one, and two, even if you have enough money to buy both consoles, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do so. And because of that, obviously people are going to want to assume that their choice, because there is really two big choices, is the better one of the two. People bring up specs and stuff and they'll defend them, and then slowly they'll just get more and more into those ideas over time.
Yeah.
So I think it, from a fundamental standpoint, it makes sense. Humans fucking love doing that shit. It's not really that surprising. But with the most recent consoles, though, I feel like performance-wise, they're incredibly comparable.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just like exclusives that you would really look at them at.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I just like the Xbox controller more. That's the big thing keeping me there.
Right, and I remember a couple of the key arguments too being, the reason I thought the console wars also ended is because, I'm pretty sure I heard somebody come to the conclusion that, like, the PlayStation overall is a better gaming console, but the Xbox overall is a better media, like, family console. Now, whether or not that's 100% true, it's kind of whatever. I didn't delve super deep into it at that point. But... yeah, then it comes to, like, a matter of exclusives, and the only, like, point I can see there still being a console war is if you have cross-platform games and you think the other console is shit because their connection is worse, or, like, their servers, or, like, the way their console... like, you just think it's dumb that they have, like, some kind of, mythological benefit over your console, which makes you hate theirs for some reason. But also with the whole controller thing, though, too, I think we talked about it on the podcast, or maybe we talked about it when we were still a gaming channel, I don't remember. But we were talking about the lack of PlayStation games that actually used the touchpad on the controller, which made it pointless. So,
yeah, that's just like a pretty big thing generally with Sony's controllers. They like to cram a lot of shit into them that just never fucking gets used by any other games ever.
Yeah, so it is, those I can see as arguments, but like I've stated, I just don't care. I've had an Xbox. All of my friends are on Xbox. The arguments are pointless because nobody's gonna drop $500+ to switch consoles and not have any friends to play with and not have any games to play with, because there's it's just a huge financial dump that you just have to go through anytime a console change happens, even if you're upgrading a generation. So it's just real dumb overall. I don't know.
But dude, I really want to play 2B and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and it's only on PlayStation!
Yeah, overall, if I can't afford both consoles, I'd rather put my energy into being upset at my financial circumstances than directed at people who, really like fucking Halo or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I thought about getting a PS5 recently, but I just don't know where the fuck I would put it, so that's really what deterred me.
Right.
Yeah, like, the only thing that would get me to get a PlayStation is a game that I really liked, that I'd be willing to drop the money on to get, but I'm not gonna pay $500 to get to play a $60 game, essentially, is what that would be. So I just cut my losses and say, like, if I want to, I'll just watch somebody play it or something at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, gaming Twitter's a fucking nightmare, as with, like, basically anything that's to do with Twitter. But did you guys really see much of what was going on with, like, all the Assassin's Creed shit that they've been just fucking squawking at each other about there?
No.
Yeah.
What happened?
Tanner, you like to explain it to the boy?
So they announced the new Assassin's Creed Shadows and revealed that you will be playing as 2 different characters, a female ninja and fucking Yasuke, the black samurai. And people are going to war with each other over this one.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's woke, Dylan. The wokes, they took my Assassin's Creed.
I don't want to play as a black man! I wish they actually just said that. They always, like, veil it and, like, all this other bullshit. But, like, the real root cause is I just don't want to play as a black guy.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I would.
I don't know what to say.
I think ultimately the correct position is I don't care, but don't think we don't know why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone believes that the creators over at Ubisoft are, like, deeply invested in the story of Yasuke and really want to, put him in a game.
I hate that companies do that too. That's actually kind of irritating to me, but...
Yeah.
I actually don't mind it that much, because at least, like, it's an actual historical figure that they're using for this sort of thing.
Oh,
which,
that's
like,
fine.
Which fucking, that was one of the big things people were complaining about, like the historical inaccuracies, though, as if, like, Assassin's Creed is a series that really is known for their amazing historical accuracy.
I think that's kind of a cop-out argument, to be honest.
Yeah?
Like,
How so?
yes, they break, like, strict historical accuracy, but, like, the games are still predicated on some semblance of representing reality, although it be fantastical.
Yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with them having Yasuke in this game?
I said I don't care.
Okay.
Huh.
Fair enough, dude. Well, boys, if we're done talking about this stupid-ass culture war bullshit, are we ready to talk about some other culture war bullshit over at Guapish at the movies?
Holy shit, I can't wait.
Guapish at the movies! there weren't really any songs this week. The only thing I can think of is
someone
Godzilla's...
do something whimsical from Spirited
Jackson,
Away.
what's a Spirited
I
Away
was just gonna
song?
do Godzilla's intro theme, damn it.
I don't have a piano on me, so unfortunately I can't recreate anything from the OST.
Damn. Put it in post.
Well, Jackson, what did we watch this week, dude?
Our Patreon pick for this week was the 2017 film Logan, as requested by Nedigant. Thank you for the Patreon pick. This was your first pick ever.
Woohoo!
And by first pick ever, I mean this is your first pick that was picked ever. Yeah, Tanner, you seem like the type of person that wants to give a synopsis of this film.
Dude, I can't wait to give a synopsis of Logan. Okay, Logan is about Wolverine, also called Logan, because that's his name. He is an old man now. He is so old and beat up, and God, he looks like he wants to die in every single frame of this movie. We find out that he is saving up money and taking care of Professor X over in Mexico, because Professor X had a seizure and killed a bunch of people several years ago, and now he is constantly at risk of these seizures, which endanger the lives of people around him. We find out that there is a mysterious girl who is a clone of Wolverine that Wolverine must now help because mutants no longer exist. And then over time, they are tracked down by the company that made her, and it's a race against time as they try to escape them and get to North Dakota. Along the way, Professor X dies. We find out that this company is also the ones who actually made it so that mutants stop happening. And then all the bad guys die, and so does Wolverine, the end. And now my haiku, as inspired by Logan. All mutants are gone. Logan and X wait to die. Save a new mutant.
Why'd they give the black boy electric powers?
Why did they give the black guy
Because
electric powers?
it's Storm's genetic offspring.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, I don't know if are they clones? I thought they said they just took the genetic code from the mutants and implanted them into young Mexican
Same difference.
girls. I don't think that's... I typically use that
They're
phrase.
using their
It doesn't-
genetic material to make a new version of them. Shut up.
Anyway. It's been a while since I watched this movie. Oh yeah, I was mentioning this before. So just for the audience, this is the first week in which I had seen all the movies prior, and I almost didn't watch any of them because I thought I could recall them by perfect memory. But you all know how my memory is.
You should be watching the movies even if you can recall them by perfect memory.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I don't know why I watch this movie primarily because I was never huge into X-Men. And I believe X-Men like happens in the same universe as like the Marvel and everything,
No.
right? Like all the No.
Well, I mean, like, you know,
Well,
in the
they're still-
comics, not the movies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but it's still. Yeah. But I mean, I remember watching this the first time and I didn't really understand what was going on because I didn't understand how X-Men was. Like I was unsure how the timeline unfolded. This movie,
To be honest, the filmmakers don't really know either, it seems like.
oh, is that a detriment to this movie? Am I missing
No.
something here?
No.
No?
Just the rest of
Okay.
the X-Men movies. This one's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, this movie is also incredibly gory. Like, not only when they introduce the girl and she just, like, walks out of the barn with that guy's head, but just also the fact that they just decide to off this nice, like, farm family that they house with in the middle of the movie for seemingly no reason. Like, I get there's supposed to be tension, but, like, I don't know, I feel like in any other movie, if there's, like, a house that's, or, like, some people that are housing our protagonists, they don't all just die and are just, like, is waved away kind of thing, you know? It was kind of a shock to my system, but, I don't know, I thought the movie was pretty good overall, just for not being into X-Men. I don't know why they had the little girl mute the entire time, and also, why did none of the other kids also have Hispanic accents, aside, like, with them being also growing up in Mexico?
Did they not?
No, it was just
I don't think
the
most of them
Wolverine
really
girl.
talked is the thing, so...
Right.
The ones that did talk didn't have the accents, though, so it's a minor thing.
I
It
feel
doesn't
like they
matter.
did, but anyway.
Yeah.
Don't
I
always
love
expect
how-
him to sound like, "Hey, Wolverine, I can't wait to see how you
exactly.
take out the bad guy, man."
Mr. Logan.
You guys are horribly contextualizing what I'm trying to say.
Anyway, I like how gory this movie is. I'm glad that, you know,
The guy with knives on his hands is finally able to fucking cut people up.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's-
is very funny how, like, I've seen all of the X-Men movies, shockingly enough, and,
Shockingly.
they are very schlocky, they're very silly and whatever, and then this comes out of nowhere and, really kind of blows pretty much all of them out of the water.
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah, it blows, fine, whatever, it blows all of them out of the water.
There we go. Tanner really likes X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah, Days of Future blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'm a big The New Mutants fan. Fucking, I've never seen that one.
Did that even ever come out?
Yes, it did.
Okay, I remember seeing the fucking, a bunch of trailers for it, and then just I heard nothing. I think it was in
Yeah.
development hell for a bit.
I think it secretly came out on streaming, like, during COVID or some shit.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it ever saw theaters. I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's
But
fine.
yeah, what's nice about this movie is that it does stand very much on its own. I think it does give plenty of context for what's happened in the world. I suppose you would be very well served at knowing what the X-Men and what mutants are. But aside from that, I think you don't really need too much information going into it. The main downside for me, I think, is the kids. Ironically, I think they're goofy, and this really should have been just Laura. And,
Yeah, the
Logan.
other kids are really fucking stupid. Especially the
Yeah.
part where, like, you know, they're fucking killing that, like, final dude, and they're just, like, standing over him with their hands outstretched. It looks so stupid.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
looks so dumb and awkward.
I was gonna say, that whole end sequence was pretty, like, the part where Wolverine and Laura were fighting the Wolverine clone, I thought that was pretty good. I didn't think that was bad. What was bad for me is I am sitting here knowing that all of these kids have the powers of all the other X-Men, like Storm, whatever Frost guy, probably the guy who shoots lasers out of his face, Cyclops, that guy. They all have these powers. However, when it comes to, and I get these are highly trained military guys, but we've seen Laura fuck up these soldiers the entire movie, so that's not an excuse. They're like running from these soldiers, and when they finally get captured, only a few of them are able to take down maybe one guy. Like, all of these kids should be fully capable, and I guess the other aspect is do they want to do it? They should all be fully capable of taking down this army of soldiers. So the fact that they're getting captured and not able to do anything about it, I think is bullshit, but...
Yeah, the presence of the other kids really highlights how strangely competent Laura is. Like, she's just so... Like, if it was just her and not the other kids, the fact that she's so good at fighting and whatever, it's like, she's got, you know, Wolverine instincts or whatever. But, like, now that we have the other kids to compare her to, we're like, why is she so good at fucking them up? Huh?
She spent all of her time training in her cell, dude. She'd just be doing fucking backflips and shit off that constantly.
While they were doing the Rubik's Cube, she was studying the blade.
Yeah. I mean, it could be the same thing, though. It's like, oh, well, she's got Wolverine, so of course she's good at fighting and all that. But still, it's just... Why give the kids powers and show that they have powers if they're literally... It goes back to my personal view where it's like, if a person has powers, why would you give them to them and not have them show it off? Like, that's just pointless. You're putting... what do you guys call it? Chekhov's gun? Does that count in this scenario?
I'd kind of say so, because, like, they do use their powers, but it's like, they use it on one guy and then get tackled. They did that, like, 4 times in a row or some bullshit.
Yeah. I like the part where the one girl made the guy explode from nature or whatever that was. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. It sure was something. Aside ignoring the kids, performances all around really good. I liked Caliban, I liked Professor X, I liked Logan. I think with Laura, I think her flip where she does, you know, she suddenly starts talking and then really kind of taking control of their, you know, mission going forward, where she's like driving the truck and like basically taking care of him. It really does kind of feel out of nowhere for me. I get that, like, what they're trying to do is like, oh, she was like playing low key and like keeping herself guarded or whatever up to that point, but I don't think they pull it off as well as you'd probably want them to.
I mean, I don't fully disagree with you, but I think the mental switch happened when Professor X died, because that's where it happened.
I know when it happened. I'm saying I didn't find the switch particularly convincing. Yeah,
they really threw the audience into the deep end on that one. It was kind of just unnatural. Unnatural isn't the word for it, but non-organic, however you guys say it. But they had to hurry things along because they were reaching the end of the movie. So I don't know, Jackson, you were particularly quiet for this. Do you have anything in particular to say?
I thought this movie was alright. I think I enjoyed it for most of it, and then the ending was really goofy, and a lot of it is very predictable, which is kind of a downside to me. It is generally, for my opinion, kind of just like a well-shot, well-acted, generic action movie. I didn't like the kids at all. I thought Laura was probably my least favorite part of the movie. Every time she was doing any action bullshit, it was just really fucking goofy. And as you know, you guys were talking and alluding to earlier, just the thought of her being able to pull off any of this shit is very unbelievable to me, just from a baseline. I think it's an alright movie. I don't really have a ton to say about it, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I definitely liked it better than the first time I watched it.
Well, there we go.
Says anything.
That's good to hear.
Alright.
Yeah, I know that Tanner mentioned that, like, compared to the other X-Men movies, this one definitely has a very different feel to it, but just compared to, like, every other superhero movie that we've really had up until now, most of them kind of just follow the generic Marvel formula, and that's about it. Like, the only one that's really broken the mold in that way has been, like, Deadpool, which takes, like, the whole mature thing in a very different direction, whereas, you know, this one is definitely much darker in its themes and just the overall conflict that we see throughout it, as well as, like, you know, this film is shockingly tense in several parts as well. Like, when he's fucking, like, trying to climb back to the hotel room to, like, help out Professor X or whatever the fuck. Like, that shit had me just holding my breath. And then once they finally, like, you know, got everything going right, you know, he injects that fucking syringe into him. It's like, oh, I can finally breathe again. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, my heart. Which I thought was just so well done. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. And with that, boys, Tanner, what do you think you're going to be rating this one, man?
I'm gonna give this one an A+.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Jackson, how about you?
I gave it an A-.
A-, holy smokes, I'm giving an A.
There we go. I think that landed A+.
No, it doesn't. It lands at A.
It definitely doesn't. Lands at an A.
Yeah.
Damn. I figured that... Oh, never mind.
Fair enough. I think that's a pretty good score for this one.
Solid.
Yeah, I think that fits pretty well generally.
Can't wait to watch X-Men 3, which I think is the one where Storm says, you know what happens to a toad in a lightning storm? Same thing to everything else, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, minor detail. This is a very minor detail. I don't even know if it was like totally intended. But I do like the fights between Logan and fucking copy of Logan dude. I don't know what his name is. Specifically, just with the way that Logan wins those fights by outsmarting him for the most part, and you can see him do a lot more. Like he's like using his environment more rather than the fucking copy clone of him is primarily just using like brute force and his like strength to overrun him, which I think is cool. They didn't like call action to it or anything. It's just like a subtle detail that did it, and that movie definitely has a lot of stuff like that, which I can appreciate.
Yeah. Shows us years of experience are able to pull one over on this guy.
True. Here's a fun little bit of misinformation for you guys. For whatever reason, when I first saw this, I was convinced that clone Clogan, as he shall now be known, was played by Liev Schreiber, and that just isn't true. It's just Hugh Jackman with de-aging CGI on him.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I think they should have... I think they should have made it Liev Schreiber, though. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I say that because he's the actor who plays Sabretooth.
Whoa. Okay. He's Wolverine's brother.
Yeah. / torturer.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think... Are they brothers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're brothers.
I think they're brothers in some continuities and not in others.
I'll look it up in my book later.
Anyways.
Anywho, we're talking about Dylan's pick of this week, that being the 2014 film Godzilla. Dylan, take us away.
Whoa! Godzilla. Alright, so this is where it all began. So basically, you got, these parents in Japan, they're with their kid. They work in a nuclear reactor, right? I guess before that, they come across this mine, and they discover, like, this big old skeleton, and they find these big old radioactive pods, and one of them's open. Oh no, there's a big hole in the floor, and it dragged itself to the ocean. Next thing you know, this dude's wife dies in some seismic quake. Fast forward, the guy's still there, they're trying to figure out what's going on. Something comes out of the pod, they've been keeping it contained, they're trying to study it. Then Godzilla comes out of nowhere because this guy is gonna bring balance to the world. Then the other one hatches out of Area 51 and decimates Nevada. They all fight in somewhere, LA, California. The army's trying to intervene the best way they can. Godzilla essentially kills both of them. And the movie ends and Godzilla walks away the champion. The end. Tanner, what's your haiku?
Here's my haiku as inspired by Godzilla 2014 starring Bryan Cranston. Mr. White's wife dies. Cover up giant monster. Go Godzilla. Hot take! The big meme with this fucking movie is, dude, there's barely any fucking Godzilla in it. And my hot take is, I don't think that actually holds the movie back all that much.
Personally, I think it does hold the movie back quite a bit because the main character is fucking piss boring and does fuck all for the movie until the very end where he just turns on the gas valve and blows the fucker up. And that's like his entire contribution to this movie.
That's not true.
And yeah, I think that the only thing to really latch onto is just maybe the mystique of what's going on if you're not interested in the Godzilla lore and you don't really understand this type of shit. But most of it's just really cut and dry, and you kind of watch this movie just to see big monsters fight, and that happened very little in this film.
I will admit, when I was... How old was I when this movie came out? 15 or 16? That is
Fun fact,
what
though, we actually saw this movie for your birthday.
Yeah, I know. It was me, you, and AJ, and one other, I think Andy, I think it was... that was the same birthday. My sister thought it was unfair. I was going to the movies with my friends. Anyway,
Sounds like a very your sister thing.
But yeah, I remember going to the movie theater. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be sick. I get to watch Godzilla fight monsters and all that, or like just Godzilla fighting, and then there wasn't. So I thought it was a bad movie because there was no Godzilla fighting. I had gone that long without watching this movie. I think I might have watched it one other time between now and then. But watching this movie again makes me appreciate what Legendary was attempting to go for with their world. And I'm starting to see now what you guys are saying about the other movies. I think, in my honest opinion, the other movies are a tad bit flashy. I liked the mystique and the suspense and the secrecy that this movie had. But in like the other movies, just flaunting it everywhere. Oh my god, there's giant monsters. How have they not destroyed the entire world through their conflicts and all that? So, I think the other movies are fine, but I think this movie is actually better because of its mystique and secrecy and low-keyness. I know that sounds wild, but I will also say this is changing my view on the other movies, and there will be a massive tier list overhaul based on me watching this one movie. So be prepared for that and stay tuned, I guess.
Holy
Damn,
smokes.
that's fucking crazy. I was gonna say, this one is, like, fucking radically different from all of the
100%.
other, legendary Godzillas. Like I've said, I like those ones because they're silly and schlocky and whatever, and this one is not that at all. They are taking this deadly seriously. Overall, my impression of this movie is it's one of those movies that's meant to be sort of, you know, a feast for the eyes, very visually impressive, lots of cool shots and whatever, like, you know, like, the monsters fighting in the airport, that's like a cool looking shot, the guys, you know, fucking parachuting into San Francisco, the thing with where they're on the train tracks and there's a flaming train that comes at them, or the big thing crossing underneath them. It's like a bunch of really interesting looking shots. And the trade-off I think they decided to go with is that the plot is fucking non-existent. There's nothing going on in the sense that, like, our main characters, the humans, have, like, zero agency whatsoever. They are not impacting what is happening around them at all. They're just kind of there to witness the things that are happening. So, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, although it definitely holds back how good a movie can be when it's, like, just meant to be visuals.
Yeah, I mean, I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that is a problem. To me, that's not an issue, because I think there's a sense of intrigue in a movie when you're whoever you want to view as the protagonist, whether it's Godzilla or the dude we've been following around the whole... When somebody in the situation is powerless, and you're kind of just along for the ride watching how things play out. I like that aspect of a movie. Because I don't think that the protagonist or whoever, the central focus of the movie, should always have things going their way. Like, they're just kind of going with the flow, just seeing what happens, and if they can alter it just a little bit, like, I say that, but the only example I have is at the end of the movie where the guy turns the gas valve and blows up all the eggs. Saves Godzilla, so it allows him to kill the male, and then essentially Godzilla comes and saves him at the end, right before she gets him in the boat. So I like it when there's just, like, paralleling... I can't say paralleling plots, because that's not accurate, but...
You like when the plot rhymes.
Sure, but... I don't know.
When there's intersecting plot points, I suppose.
Yeah, that's probably more so what I'm going at. So I don't have an issue with that. That's just a personal take on the matter, though.
Dude, why the fuck are these monsters always going to, like, California and, like, Tokyo and all this other shit? When are they gonna duke out in fucking Helena, Montana, bro?
To be fair, it was in Las Vegas, which is a lesser seen major city.
True.
I don't know about you guys, but I really like the part where, like, Godzilla grabs that fucking Motu, or whatever the fuck they call these things, by the head, and just, like, fucking blasts it right down the throat.
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
like I said,
scene was
visually
sweet.
cool looking stuff.
Top 10 best kaiju executions of all time.
Top 10,
3
more
for
like
sure.
number 1.
Yeah.
I like the one in 1986's Godzilla Final Wars where he picks up King Ghidorah and spins him above his head and then throws him into the sun.
Godzilla was a little silly back then, but that does sound rather enticing.
Dude, I've seen some clips of fucking Ultraman earlier today, and apparently, like, in those like, old-ass, fucking movies and shit like that, where they'd just be, like, big suits and stuff, he would just, like, grab them and tear them apart, and they'd have, like, blood and shit coming out of them, which is crazy.
Oh.
That's awesome. I love that.
Alright, well, any more thoughts in particular on this?
I like how particular is Dylan's word of the day
I
today.
do use it. Well, I also just use that word quite often regardless, so. Anyway.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty movie with not a lot of substance, and I rated it a C+ personally.
Holy shit.
Dylan, what are you rating it?
I gave it an S.
Wow,
Holy
major
shit.
shocker
I love
there,
this
dude.
movie. I love
Jesus.
this movie. I like I said, I have a lot of tier list reorganizing to do now.
Does that include this one?
No. Why would it include this one?
I landed at it, Hold on, let me start my sentence over. Ultimately, where I landed is that while I appreciate the higher quality of this one, it was less entertaining to me than the other ones, and so that kind of evened out, so it's just going in the exact same slot that I put both of the other Godzillas we've seen, not -1, the other two legendary Godzillas, so this one's going at a B.
I'm giving it a
All right,
C.
Nico, what kind of D? Oh, let's go. He's giving it a C. I'm amazed and shocked. Jackson, where does it put it?
Oh, I have my mic muted, and that puts it at a B overall.
Whoa.
Not too shabby.
I think that's higher than all
Godzilla
the
being
other
a
ones.
B-tier movie sounds about right.
No, it doesn't. You guys are hack frauds.
Dylan, do you think Jackson and I would enjoy these more if we like actually watched all the MonsterVerse movies in order instead of like sporadically like we've done?
Considering the fact that I thought this movie was better than the others and I'm going to be re-ranking the other ones because of it, probably not.
Whoa.
There you go. You got the optimal experience. How does that feel?
I realized we haven't seen one and I felt bad.
If it was all left out.
All alone. What's our next movie?
Guys, it is officially time for Peak. We're talking about the best movie this week. My pick, that being the 2001 film Spirited Away, which of course is the story of a little girl who is moving to a new house in a new city with her parents, and they get lost along the way trying to find the route there. And is eventually she ends up in the spirit realm. Her parents turn to pigs, and she is then trying to work in an inn to get the witch that runs the place to turn them back into humans and get back. And it's a self-explanatory film, pretty cut and dry, nothing confusing about it. This is an easy to understand baby film for babies, just like Tanner's baby haiku.
That's right, my haiku is inspired by Spirited Away. A young girl moving, trapped in a magic onsen. Day saved through friendship. This one I see, actually, I won't even say this. This one is, a visually stunning and whimsical film.
Downright peak, you might say.
Huh?
It's downright peak, you might say.
No.
Damn.
I don't know. What does that have to do with what I was just saying?
I'm just saying, in general, you'd say it's peak.
I wouldn't.
Oh no.
I have been on record as not really enjoying very, let's say, loosely structured plots. But that wasn't really a problem for me with this one, because while it wasn't a very linear plot structure, I think it actually does a very good job of keeping me engaged. One trick that they do that I think really helps with that is they kind of have this like sort of simple repeating thing where she will perform some kind of simple task to help someone. She gets some kind of object out of that task, and then that object helps her solve a problem a little later in the movie. They do this multiple times throughout the movie, and it kind of helps create that linear plot progression that I appreciate in a movie.
Like in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I said Spirited Away is a Metroidvania.
Yeah, this movie does have a really unique plot structure. I do appreciate it just because it is a longer movie, but it doesn't feel like it's very long. Just because it's so fucking dense with shit happening, whether that be like, the incredible 2D animation, which I would go out on a limb and say is probably the best 2D animation we've seen so far. I don't even those are contest with anything else.
You're telling me Superman versus the Elite is not on the same tier as this
Not
one?
even close.
I can't wait for Tanner to rank this lower than that.
But like basically the thing with this movie is they never let you get bored just because they always introduce like one little plot thread or they'll hint to something at the start and it'll slowly just build up in intensity over time. Like obviously No Face is a really good example of that. They constantly show him doing stuff throughout the film and he's not really like a main focus. Frankly, it'd be hard pressed to even say they're like a main character at all. They're kind of just somebody that's in the plot with them, and it's not really that big of a character, even though people, fucking love No Face. But that's just like another thing. Like Haku, he's got his adventure of what he's doing in the background while she's working in the inn. And slowly just like things that have been seen early just constantly get brought back into the plot, or like you get little snippets of what's happening through, Hiro's perspective while she's working at this inn, which I think is really interesting, and it's a really fun way of doing it. And then the whole movie kind of like settles down in the train ride when she finally gets out of like the hectic nature of the inn. It's a very beautifully created film in lots of ways other than just the art, I would say, which is interesting because this movie
Miyazaki hates this one. It's his least favorite he's ever made.
This one fucking sucks. But no, the way they produced this film, from what I understand, is that they didn't really have like a specific plot they were going for. It was mostly just they had a bunch of ideas they wanted to do, and then they found a way of just like connecting all of them, from what I understand.
Oh.
Obviously they they fleshed it out more as they got to that point, but it was primarily just like a bunch of ideas they figured out what stuck and they kind of put together, which makes sense to me. But making it seem this cohesive and as complete of a project as it is, it's impressive.
I think that does make a lot of sense, and it shows a lot, actually. Because, like, okay, let me just get this out of the way, boys, okay? I just want to say it real quick here. This is a very pretty film, okay? It looks fantastic. I like the music, all right? I acknowledge that those are big positives for the movie, all right? However, there's something I've stated before that I really dislike about Ghibli movies, which is that this film does lack a climax. However, the biggest problem with it, I think, is that there's really no weight to any of the events that transpire throughout the film whatsoever. Like, a big example of this is when our fucking main character girl, she's finally meeting her parents, okay? So they're finally reconnecting after all this time, after she's worked so hard to get back together with them, and they just don't care whatsoever. She doesn't make a big deal out of it. Obviously they don't make a big deal of it because they don't really know anything went on. But, like, okay, you did all this and just nothing's gonna happen now, huh? You're not gonna give them a hug or nothing? All right, fair enough, I guess. And just as a result, it leaves me feeling really unsatisfied while watching this. Like, I'm just checking out a series of events until the film eventually it just ends.
Were you not invested in her adventure at all?
No, not really, because the film wasn't trying to convince me I should be.
Oh, well, I'm the exact opposite. I was very invested in the adventure.
Okay.
I liked the payoff a lot. I enjoyed her trip, her discovering more about herself, becoming more confident as a person. Doing all the adventures and stuff, and then the payoff of, her getting out with her family and moving on. She even reconnected with the spirit that saved her when she was a small child. Lots of things. I fucking adore this movie. I think you're a hater, Nico. Fuck you, bitch.
Which I hate to say. Like, I hate to complain. I'm kidding. I love that. But I don't want to be all up here being a contrarian saying, like, oh, Spirited Away, it's overrated. But it actually is, I think.
I agree with the point Nico is making there, although it seems that I do not hold it against the movie nearly as much as he does.
Like, I think the biggest thing about this is that it just feels more like the kind of film you just kind of sit back and, like, try to get immersed into the whimsical world rather than, like, really be invested in any sort of story that's happening.
Yeah, I would hard disagree on that. I think there's plenty to grasp onto to the total contrary.
Alas.
Frankly, Nico, you're being a bit of a cultural supremacist. This is just how storytelling is in the East, which is to say bad.
So true.
Yeah, this is a very non-conventional way of telling a story, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I enjoy it for being non-conventional. It's very unique in its approach, which fits the Ghibli style a lot.
Sometimes conventions are the way they are for a reason, though.
Alas, you're a hater. Opinion discarded.
This is another Nico doesn't like the types of people who like this movie. Women!
That's not even true, though.
He exclusively likes the type of people that like this movie. That's all he goes for when he's dating.
I do think the kinds of women who enjoy this movie are severely damaged, though.
Which is your type.
Exactly. So, Dylan, you haven't really said much about this one whatsoever. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I really don't have anything out of the ordinary to say about this movie. I agree with everything Jackson said about this movie. My brain is very easily distracted and entertained.
No way.
And I actually can appreciate that I can watch this movie and maybe not necessarily understand everything that's going on the first time, but that entices me and intrigues me to watch it again, and then allows me to piece it together every time I watch it. And I've watched this movie many, many, many times. And quite frankly, I get the same feeling every time I watch it. And I just like how I can piece more and more of the story together if I didn't understand it the first few times, which I don't know, I like that. I like being able to more coherently put the movie together as I watch it. Tanner, you're laughing a whole lot. You got something to say, my guy? That did not come through. That'll sound great in post. But yeah, no, I think this movie is visually stunning. I like the characters. I like the events that happen. I like the kookiness of the movie. And I just like the wacky things that happen. I like the subplots that are happening. And everybody, like, trying to help her, get her parents so she can leave, and the bonds and connections she makes throughout the way. And like Tanner was saying, I like how she's confronted with the problem, she solves the problem, and she uses the reward or the fruits of that labor to pursue and progress the next problem she comes in contact with. So yeah, overall I think I really, really like.
Yeah, I would say one thing that's really good about this movie is the characterizations of everybody specifically. Like also we have the pretty consistent progression in our main character. She gets a lot more confident for the movie. We've got No Face, who kind of like more understands what's going on with people as we go through. You can even maybe say the fucking Yubaba, the main villain of the film, isn't even necessarily a villain. They're just kind of running a tight ship and they're just trying to make money. It's just how it works there.
Much like Killmonger from Black Panther.
Yeah, no, everyone's really consistent. I think people act very rationally for the most part. I think most of the characters are very likable too. It's just a very well-made film. One of the things that I appreciate about films like this too is that every time you watch it, like I've seen this movie a million times, as most people have, and every time I watch it, I just get more and more immersed into it, and I also just discover more and more like minor things that I hadn't noticed on previous watches. Which is really entertaining, I feel like I can keep watching this movie forever and I'll just keep understanding more of like what's going on and just understand it more deeply. Like one of the minor things I noticed this time, which I don't even know if it was like an actual intentional thing or not, but like just the staff that work there, to me it seemed like there was a progression of people that are frogs, and then there was also like the gradient of frog to person, and there was a lot of people that were within that gradient somehow, and I was like, wonder if there's like a fucking caste system at this inn where people slowly turn from a frog to a human or something the longer they work there. How, maybe if they're a better worker or not, I don't know.
I kind of saw it as going the opposite direction, like everyone, like all these people or all these characters were actually originally humans, and then they start turning into fantastical creatures the longer they've been there.
It's the only thing I'm saying against that, because I could also see the way you're looking at it, specifically
is that they're so freaked out that there's a human there.
No, it was when they tasked our main character to clean the big bath, and they fought back not wanting to do that because that's a frog job, which makes me think that they're on like the lower level of it. The frogs are the ones that have to go and clean the big annoying one.
Well, that kind of still could make sense in my theory, just because like the ones who have been there the longest are the ones who, are most fucking trapped and have forgotten their names for the longest amount of time and etc.
Perchance.
Maybe.
Anyways, I could talk about this movie all fucking day.
Yeah.
I feel like I've kind of gotten my point across of that I adore this
Nico
film.
is cringe.
I feel you, buddy. I feel you on this one. 100% everything agree with you, man.
Well, let's see if you guys rank it the same. Dylan, what are you ranking it?
Oh, man. After talking about it, I think my rank. I literally don't think anything is wrong with it.
Holy
Well, I don't
shit.
think anything's wrong with Surf's Up either, but I didn't give that one a very high rank.
I think something had to have been wrong with it for you to rank it low. Anyway, I think I'm gonna give Spirited Away an S. I'll say S+. Fuck it.
Holy cow.
Holy shit. Not even Godzilla got that.
Yeah, I'd also personally give this movie an S+.
There we go.
I think this is definitely one of my favorite movies, and it shows. This
Hell
movie's
yeah.
fucking awesome.
That's crazy. Dude, Tanner, what are you giving it, man?
I'm giving it an A+.
Whoa. I'm really flip-flopping between two ratings here.
Give it the higher one.
F- and F.
Give it the higher
which one's
one,
feeling
Nico.
it?
Do
The
it.
higher one.
Give it the higher one.
You did
You know
talk
you
it up
want
a
to.
lot.
Give in to peer pressure. Do it.
I guess so, sure. I'll give it an A-.
Holy shit.
Holy cow.
Oh my god.
Considering this movie anything lower than A tier is asinine, Nico. I don't think I'll pay attention to a single rating you have of any movie we've ever seen from this point onwards.
Which is truly unfortunate because you guys tend to rate movies the same.
Yeah, this is a straw that broke the camel's back.
For real.
Yeah, thinking Spirited Away of all movies, like culturally acclaimed, this movie is like ubiquitous as like one of like. I'm not gonna
movie of
fucking
all
rant
time.
about it anymore. Thinking that shit's a B tier is insane.
Sorry,
yeah, so
dude.
this
Maybe
land-
it should be a little better if it wanted to get a higher ranking.
It fucking sucks to suck.
That's awesome. Dylan, please remember this the next time you complain about us ripping into your favorite movies.
Fair enough, dude. I'll probably forget and completely 180, but Anyway,
There you
Jackson,
go.
what does that land Spirited Away at?
How dare you guys hate The Notebook?
Anyways, it lands at an S-.
Let's go.
Wow, I'm impressed it was still an S tier, to be honest.
Those S
It had
pluses
two
are put
S
in
We
order.
got
pluses.
two S+, dude.
S Plus is doing the work, baby. Let's go.
Anyways, what are you guys picking this week?
Oh yeah, we have to pick movies, don't we?
We sure
Yeah.
do. Are you not ready with your pick?
Tanner, it's a brand new month for you, man. What's fucking
That's
happening?
right, everyone. Brand new month, which means a brand new theme. And for the month of June, it's gonna be Kung June. That's right, we're doing Kung Fu movies all month, guys. And I get 3 picks this month, too.
He's gonna pick Karate Kid. Easy dub.
And I think there's no better... That's a karate movie, idiot.
Whatever, dude.
I think there's no better way to kick off this month than to finally watch a movie with one of the most legendary entertainers in cinema history, Jackie Chan. And so I decided to go and see what is, like, pretty commonly considered the best Jackie Chan movie. And we have landed on 1985's Police Story.
Wow.
And what's fun about this one is it is directed, written, and stars Jackie Chan. So
Let's go,
this is
dude.
probably the most distilled Jackie Chan we can possibly get.
Epic.
Man, I was gonna pick like one movie, but you picking fucking Police Story or whatever makes me want to pick a different one instead now. So I'm gonna go with Kindergarten Cop.
Let's go. I love that movie. It's funny.
That's fun.
I've never seen it before, so let's find out what it's like.
I think I have. That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if I have seen it actually.
It's a pretty good time.
Patreon.
Patreon.
Patreon, Jackson, what is it, dude?
This week we're watching the 1974 film Where the Red Fern Grows, as requested by Steve Harvey's Ghost. Thank you for the request.
What?
Interesting.
There's some
Wait.
fucking different movies we got this week.
Yeah. I have not seen this one since like middle school.
I never added this one to the website, so I didn't even know it was a fucking request
Yeah, that's-
until this very
I-
moment, apparently.
I was gonna say, I don't even remember this one getting requested.
It was a
when
sleeper hit.
was this requested?
Well, if you too would like to request a movie, then Jackson's gonna tell you all about how you can do that.
On our Patreon for $1.
Whoa, what else do they get with that?
You get access to our pre-show. You get early access to the episodes. Probably not. You get access to our Discord where you can request movies and also topics, and also use the Slimes bot, which you get 500 coins for, and that's it. Except for the name reading out thing, by the way. Who's gonna do that?
I guess I'll do it. Thank you very much to Slade by J, Blake, Nedagant, Kyler Nikolai, Uranium Infused Motor Skills, Top Ramen Man, Joshua Bean, I'm Gay for Godzilla, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards.
Thank you very much, everybody. We love you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.